Hello, my name's Keith Rucker. The purpose of this video here is I just wanted to take an opportunity to do a little shop talk video with you guys to tell you a little bit about what's been going on the past couple of weeks and show you a few things that have come in the mail and I picked up and what have you. So the last 2 weeks I have really been on the road traveling with my job. It's just been kind of crazy and hectic. Haven't had a whole lot of shop time. Which means not a whole lot of YouTube videos being done at the same time. But I did want to tell you about last Saturday, actually all last weekend. All last weekend, I got the opportunity to go up to North Georgia, up in Chickamauga, Georgia, which just south of Chattanooga, and visit with a friend of mine, Mike Danford, who is a longtime member of the Old Woodworking Machines Forum. And every year about this time, Mike hosts a little event at his house with a bunch of guys on the woodworking forum, on the Old Woodworking Machines Forum, OWWM. So people come in from all around the country, and it's just an opportunity for all of us guys to get together and have a really good time. But the name of his event is called Toolstock, and he calls that as it's just an opportunity to talk about tools, which is, you know, right up my alley, as you guys know. So a lot of people who come to this event will bring with them projects, things that they're working on, something that they're stuck on. And one of the things that we've done over the past couple of years is everybody kind of pitches in and helps each other out. With myself having I guess some experience in working on machines and doing machine shop work or whatever. This year, I didn't bring anything of myself up there. I just went to visit with people and to help other people on their projects. And there were a couple other guys. Mike Wiggins, who is a friend of mine, lives over outside of Statesboro, Georgia. He came up. Mike is a machinist back home, and he kind of did the same thing. Although he did bring a little project to work on, but he really spent a lot of his time helping build some parts, working in the machine shop, doing some different things, helping people. For me, it seems like probably what I spent most of my time doing over the 3 days that I was able to help people was doing a lot of cast iron brazing and Babbitt pouring, which are two things that I have become fairly proficient at over the years of my own work. So throughout those days, people would just, they would bring their projects in, and I'll just tell you about a couple of the projects that I had the opportunity to help some people with. And I'll say this, when it really wasn't something where you just bring it and drop it off, go somewhere, pick it up later like a normal machine shop. When we do this event, it's a very hands-on event, and we don't really do demos per se, but people bring things in and we kind of all help each other out. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm working with someone on something that they don't know how to do is take the opportunity and kind of teach them and coach them in doing that. So, on some of these brazing projects, for example, we had a couple of guys that had never held an oxyacetylene torch in their life, and had something that was broken, needed to be brazed back together. And we'd kind of show them how to do it, and kind of put the torch in their hands and kind of help them through that process. So anyway, we did several projects. We had one guy that brought in a wheel off of a bandsaw, or one of the spokes, one of the cast iron spokes was busted out and was missing. In fact, when he bought the machine, it just had a steel bolt that was brazed in there. Really crappy looking job. We cut that out, and he actually made a new spoke out of steel, shaped it to look like cast iron. We brazed that back in place and made a very nice repair. The other repair was probably functional. It probably would have worked fine. But the repair that we did, once it's cleaned up and painted and, probably a little Bondo or whatever on there, you really won't even be able to tell that a repair was ever made to that bandsaw wheel. Really neat repair that I got the chance to help out with. Had another guy that brought along a cast iron base off of an old electric motor that was probably made back in the 20s or 30s. Unfortunately, it got dropped. Right after he got it, something happened. I don't remember the exact story, but it got broken. And when he brought it, it was about 6 or 7 different pieces. We put it back together like a jigsaw puzzle, and with doing some prep work and brazing, we were able to put all that back together and very strong repair, and one that I'm confident will hold up for many years to come. So that was just two little brazing projects that I got to help out on, and there were several other brazing projects that came in. But probably more than anything else, I really helped out with doing some Babbitt pouring. There were probably, goodness, 4, maybe 5 people who had some Babbitt bearings that had issues. One of them, really, there was nothing wrong with it. It was just an old bearing. It just needed to kind of be cleaned up and scraped. We took the journal out, polished it on the lathe, did some scraping to the Babbitt that was in there, put it back together, and it was ready to go. But this individual just didn't know how to do it. We had several others where the Babbitt was shot, needed to be repoured, so we melted out the old Babbitt and just did total repours from start to finish. And I think over the weekend there was probably 3 or 4 brand new Babbitt jobs that were done. And again, my goal was trying to teach and coach some other people. So I'd kind of help them get it set up. We'd get all the Babbitt Right on there, melt the Babbitt, and like, okay, here's the torch heated up, and here you go pour it, you go do it. And by doing that, we're passing along these skills. And again, there were a couple of guys up there who had never poured Babbitt before. And after a weekend of working on their own project and maybe helping out with some others, now they can go and pour Babbitt themselves. So, it's just an opportunity to learn. So we did a lot of neat projects. There were several jobs that were done on the milling machine, several done on the lathe while we were up there. I had my hand in a couple of those. Again, Mike Wiggins kind of jumped in and did most of the machine shop stuff on the lathe work anyway, but he was doing the same thing, kind of trying to teach and coach some other people along the way. So really good event, really good time. I think there was probably 35 or 40 people that came in for this event that lasted over a long weekend, and it was just a really good time. And I want to give my hat off to Mike Danford and his family for hosting everybody at his house. He's got a nice place up in the North Georgia mountains with some acreage, and we just all came in and invaded his place and had some good shop space and some good tools that we were able to use at the same time. So really a good time. Anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about that. And I did shoot some video while I was there, and I probably have already kind of put some of that into this video by now in the editing process, but really it wasn't a setting where I could really set a camera up and talk to you guys like I normally do, because there were so many people around me and so many conversations going on. It was just, and plus it was just fast and furious. There were so many projects to get done, and I was literally running around helping a bunch of different people at a time. So it was hard for me to run the video camera and particularly do anything like I normally do. So I did shoot some video, but really not able to do a typical video start to finish type thing like I normally do. So hopefully you'll get a taste of what went on at Toolstock up in Chickamauga, Georgia. So with that out of the way, again, it's been about 2 weeks since I've had a video up, and over the past couple of weeks, and plus going up to Toolstock, I've picked up some new goodies along the way, which is always one of my favorite things to do. And I want to take a few minutes and kind of go through these and show you these. So the first one, I just got a stack over here. The first one in was really right after I shot my last video. A package came in the mail from Ames, which makes indicators. And I think I had shared before that many years ago when I bought my wooden machinist toolbox, you can kind of see the edge of it right over here in the video here. In that toolbox was an old indicator, and the crystal was off of it. It was still working, but it was kind of stiff. It wasn't that great. Well, back around Christmas, I got to looking. The indicator was made by Ames, and lo and behold, they're still in business. So I contacted them right around the first of the year, and I told them I had a Model 282 indicator. It was an old one. I knew that it needed a new crystal and probably just needed to be, restored, and asked if there was anything I could do. They said, yeah, put it in a box, send it up to us. And, they said they'd take care of it. They kind of threw me some rough prices of what the price may be depending on what would happen. Well, when all was said and done, I basically just told them, I said, look, just tear it down, go through it, and bring it back up to standard like it was a new indicator. Well, it came in the mail a couple of weeks ago, and I now have a fully restored indicator here. Now this Ames indicator, well, first off, I'll tell you, when I sent it to them, I said I was curious to know about how old it was, and they said, well, they could kind of tell just on how it was built, give me a rough idea, and they let me know shortly after I got it that based on the way this one was built and based on some things they know about, when things changed and how they did some things, that this one would have been made sometime in the 1950s. I think Ames, if I remember correctly, started making indicators in the 1940s, so very early on. And like I said in my tool, when I told you about my toolbox, this indicator probably got put in a drawer sometime in the late 60s or early 1970s and had been sitting there untouched. So it probably saw about 20 years of use, and like I said, it was kind of worn, but still everything was working, just needed a new crystal. They went through, replaced the springs, did some other things in here, and got this indicator totally restored. It cost me about $50 plus some shipping to and from, but anyway, this is a very, very well built indicator. I have several indicators now in my collection. I've got some cheap offshore indicators, of course, you can buy for about 20 bucks, and when they quit working, you just throw them in the trash and go get another one. I've got a nice Starrett indicator, which is kind of my main go-to indicator, but I can tell you this indicator is built like a tank. The case back here is solid steel. This tang back here is solid steel. Even on the Starrett ones is some type of pot metal, which I'm not saying that that's bad, but this thing here, you can just hold it in your hand and feel the weight on it, and this is a very well built indicator. So I was very pleased to get this restored, and I'll be putting this back out in my toolbox, and I really can't wait to give it a try and use it. So yeah, 50 bucks to restore an old indicator. When you can buy an offshore Chinese one for $20, $25, you may say that's crazy. But again, this is one that I'm sure 30, 40 years from now is still going to be going, whereas some of those cheaper indicators won't last that long. So I felt like it was money well spent. So we'll set that aside. Let's see, what next? Okay, here's one. While I was at Toolfest, or Toolstock, I guess was the real name of it. Play on words, kind of like, oh goodness, the music. Woodstock wouldn't come to me, so Toolstock was what they called this event. While I was up there, I was doing a bunch of Babbitt pours for a lot of people, and actually Mike Wiggins, who watches my channel, he saw that, I was, when I was complaining that I couldn't get Babbitt Right anymore. Well, it just so happened that Mike had a brand new box of Babbitt Right, and Mike also had a little Babbitt pouring job that he needed to have done, or was at Toolstock. So he brought along his brand new thing of Babbitt Right, and when it was all said and done, he left it with me. This is actually some we used up there, very soft and pliable, and it's a full box with a bag in here with a big old chunk of Babbitt Right. So I should now have enough Babbitt Right to last me for another 10 or so years like my other one did. So I'm tickled to death to have this. But anyway, Mike just kind of gave that to me. He said he hopes he never has to pour another Babbitt Baron, and if he does, he'll probably call me to come help him, and I'll be glad to help him out. So anyway, I was very pleased to get this new box of Babbitt Right. So I'll be putting that in my collection. There's my old box. Probably about a third of what I started with. It's, even though you can reuse it, every time you use some, you lose a little bit, or it gets dried out too bad. So anyway, I'm set for Babbitt Right for a while now. Good job. All right, let's see. Let's grab this. This is kind of a neat piece that I got at Toolstock. Eric Clayton was there. Eric's one of the members on the OWWM forums, and Eric had brought along just some swap meet type stuff. He had a little picnic table out there that he had a bunch of stuff for sale, and I got looking and saw this. And if some of you woodworking guys or antique tool guys probably know what this is, some of you machinists may not know what this is, but this is a saw vise. This is a very old one. Look at this ornate thumb screw on the bottom here. So this is what you would use to hold a saw, a hand saw, while sharpening it. And this is something I've actually been looking for a good saw vise for some time now. And this one here is kind of unusual, and I liked it. So I bought this from Eric. So let me show you how this works. My workbench is too thick to clamp that to, so I'm going to just put a 2x4 over here in my vise. And so this just kind of goes up to your table, clamps on the bottom like such. And it has this little handle here where you can adjust this to whatever angle you want to, depending on what you're sawing. So we'll just set it up at an angle, and let me grab a hand saw here. So here is a Ditson D8 rip saw, and you say, well, why does anybody want these? I love hand saws. Yeah, you know, a modern skill saw is a big advantage over it. Sometimes a hand saw is just the way to go. And if you have some good sharp hand saws, it's amazing how fast you can actually work with one of these. And you just have a lot more control over your work. And I like hand saws. I know how to sharpen them. Like I said, I've been needing a vise. I've been using 2 blocks of wood that I would clamp on here and just a makeshift thing. So anyway, the saw goes down into the vise like such. This one has a screw over here that just tightens that vise up and just clamps that saw and gives you a nice rigid area to work with. And then you can come here with a triangular file and sharpen this saw out. And you can use it with pretty much any size saw, anything from a little small dovetail saw on up to a big hand saw like this, or a back saw, whatever. You just kind of move it as you go along. So this is a very important tool for someone who wants to sharpen hand saws. And again, I'm glad now that I have one. I've actually been wanting one of these for many years. They're not super rare, I guess. I don't know that I've ever seen one exactly like this one here. But you know, it's not, you know, you'll see them from time to time. I just have never found one that was in a condition that I wanted at a price that I wanted to pay. And I think I paid Eric $35 for this one. It's been cleaned up. It's beautiful. It's ready to go. No name on it that I could find. The only thing that it says is over here, it says number 104 cast into one of the jaws, but I couldn't find a name on that. If anybody knows who made this one, I'd be interested in knowing. I really like this design. Like I said, it's a little bit different than most saw vices that I see, but I really like it. So that'll be added to my collection. So as long as we're talking about Eric Clayton, who I got that saw vise from, this is another little thing that I picked up off his table. This is a little Toolmaker's parallel clamp. Again, I don't see a maker's mark on here, but a very nicely made set. It looks like commercial. I don't think this one was homemade. Could have been homemade, but I think this was a commercial one, but although I don't see a name anywhere on it. But anyway, a little parallel clamp. I asked Eric about this, and he just gave it to me. He said, "No, you can use that." And the motor that needed to be brazed together was actually Eric's, and I taught him how to do some brazing and got that thing fixed for him while he was up there. And I think he just was like, you know, just thank you for your help, and threw this in with the saw vise that I got. And then right before I left to come home, he came up to me and said, "Here's a box just full of stuff. And if you want it, you can have it." So I threw it in my truck, and to be honest with you, I didn't even really take a look at what all was in here until I got home. So to start out with, there's a little bag with some bronze bushings. These come in real handy. I do a lot of bronze bushings on things, and I actually have a good selection of these that I've picked up in different places. These are some little small bronze bushings. So I'm going to put these, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 in this bag. I'll put those in with the rest of my bronze bushings. So also in here are just a bunch of hubs. I'm guessing these probably went on or go to like a pulley or something, a sheave pulley or something. But there's a whole bunch of these different sizes. All have a keyway in them. That one there looks like a bushing for something. It's actually got a patent number on it. I could probably look that up and figure out what this came out of. It looks like it's a piece out of something. And another one of that same thing there. So anyway, a bunch of these. Don't know what I'll use them for, but hey, you never know. I'll throw them in a box somewhere and have them. There are also a bunch of these. I think this is from a woodworker. That's a dead center there. Of course, that could be used for metalworking too. But the reason I say woodworking, there's a bunch of these spur drives in here for on a wood lathe. These look like number 2 Morse tapers. These are pretty worn, but still very usable. So there was a whole bunch of these spur drives in here. I do some wood turning, so and my lathe takes a number 2. That's an interesting one there. Looks like it's been modified, but kind of an interesting. Here's some cup centers that you would use on the basically like a dead center you put in the tailstock. Anyway, a couple of those. That one there looks like a Morse taper drill. This looks like a Jacobs taper, like you'd put a drill chuck on. I don't see what size that is, but I'm sure that's what that is. Let's see. Here's another. This one here's a Morse taper. Has a threaded rod on the end. I'm sure there was probably something that went on that. Maybe a live center at one time. Another cup center for tailstock. Some more cup centers here. There's another dead center. So just a whole pile of them. Different ones. Another cup center. Drive spur. So anyway, I don't know. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different centers here. All of them look like number 2 Morse taper. And I'm going to probably, next time I go to my wood turning club, we have a little local wood turning club that meets once a month. I'll probably take these with me, and I'll probably pick a few out to keep for myself and pass some of these along to my fellow woodworkers, wood turning group. So let's see what else is in here. There's some collets. I don't know what these collets go to. There's actually 3 different types of collets. That one says 3/8 on it. Those look like probably 1/4 inch. That looks like a 1/4 inch. I think these here may have gone to a router. In fact, there's a cap here that fits on top of this, and that looks like what would go on a woodworking router. So I'm guessing these came off of that. I'm not sure about this collet. It says $5.95. I think that says $5.95 on it. Something 95. I can't make it out. So anyway, I don't know what those go to. If anybody knows what these collets fit or has a need for them, let me know. And let's see, there's a little oil cup in here. A little spring-loaded oil cup, press-in type. That'll end up getting used on the machine. And here's a little wrench. I don't know that Eric knew this was in there. This is a little wrench. It says Ford on it. And I know there's probably a million of these Ford wrenches out there, but I also know that there's a bunch of wrench collectors. And I don't know if this is a collectible wrench or not. With the old Ford logo on there, I suspect that maybe this may have been like something that came with a Model T car or an old car. This is an old wrench. I don't know what sizes those are. I don't have a scale handy, but looks like maybe 9/16 and 5/8, I'm guessing. And the rest of this in here is just, I don't know, just miscellaneous junk. But anyway, nice little box full of goodies. So all that came from Eric Clayton. So let me throw these back in here. All right, next, this morning, before I went out to the museum to do some woodworking, I decided to swing by the flea market. I haven't been by the flea market much lately over the past couple of months. It's just been so cold. It's been wintertime down here, and it's been my experience when the weather's bad like that, you just don't get a lot of people going to the flea markets. Today was actually a very nice day down here in South Georgia. This morning it was about 45 degrees when I got up, and went up to almost 70 degrees today. So you see I'm in the short sleeve shirts and just really been enjoying it. So there was a pretty good crowd at the flea market this morning. And there was a couple of guys there selling some old tools that I haven't seen in a while. So it was good to get in there and see that. So anyway, I only got stuff off of one guy's table, but I went by and he had several files, and I picked through them, and I found two Nicholson mill bastard cut files, and they're not in bad shape. I mean, these would both work just fine, probably, like they are. This one here, you can tell has seen some use, but you know, it's not bad. This other one actually looks like it hasn't seen a lot of use, although there's a little bit of rust on it. But anytime I can find good American-made files, even if they're used, I will buy them if I can, particularly if it's a good deal, because like I shared before, there's a place you can send these files off to out in California, and the name of the company is escaping me right now. I've talked about them before, but they can recondition these old files. They have a process that they use that's absolutely amazing. I have sent files to them before that I thought were, you know, just something that you'd send to use in the blacksmith shop to make a knife out of something, and they have sent me back a file that is, you know, looks like a brand new file. So anyway, I'll put these in my file drawer, and next time I send a batch of files off, these will probably go get reconditioned, and I'll have me basically two nice new files. You know, I don't know how much a Nicholson mill bastard this size costs now, but they're not cheap, and it's hard to find the USA made ones anymore. And these cost me $1 a piece. I'll take that deal any day. And same guy also had this little metal cabinet with some drawers. These look like a card catalog drawer out of a library or something. So these were stackable. It's got little pins where you would stack a bunch of these together. Unfortunately, I only had one. I like these little metal drawers. They're just great in the shop for putting stuff in. And as you see, I have lots of just stuff. So anytime I can find some little metal cabinets or drawers, toolbox, things like this, I pick them up. This is in pretty good shape. It's a little dirty, but you know, really not in bad shape at all. Asked him how much. He said $4. I said sold. I'll take it. Again, I wish I had several that could stack on here, but very nice. And let's see, one more thing. All right, so this is my last item. This actually came in the mail to me today when I got home from being at the museum today. These were in the mailbox. I know what they are, at least I think I know what they are. When I was up at Toolstock this past weekend, I brought along with me a bunch of the little carbide burrs and some of the counter bores or counter drills, counter sinks that I got a whole bunch of those that I bought, and a lot of stuff that I got. Anyway, there was more than I could ever use, so I took those up there with me and saw see if anybody else needed any, and was, you know, selling a few for a few bucks here and there. But what I was really trying to do was do some horse trading, because usually, in my experience, you can get a lot better deals when you do some trading. And a lot of these other guys that were up there, they have stuff that they have found over the years as well. So one of them, he picked out a good handful of carbide burrs or whatever, and he said, well, how much you want for them? And I said, well, what do you got to trade? And anyway, we got to talking, and he said, well, you know, I got a whole bunch of Morse taper drill bits. And I said, you know, that's something I've been looking for, and they are. I've been looking for some Morse taper drill bits. I like Morse taper drill bits to use on the lathe. I'm particularly looking for some larger sizes, you know, 3/4 of an inch up to and bigger, 1 inch, 1 1/4, what have you. And I've picked up one or two over the years. I've got a couple in my collection, but you know, those really come in handy. Well, he didn't have any of the big ones, but he did have a bunch of little Morse taper drill bits. I said, well, I'll tell you what, when you get home, just put me together a box and send them to me. So anyway, today I got two priority mail boxes full of these. These are from Dan Warner and his brother Neil Warner, who live up in Tell City, Indiana. I've been up to his shop a time or two over the years and have been knowing Dan for quite some time now. Super great guy. But anyway, and again, I haven't even been through these yet, so let's just see what we got. So just as promised. So a bunch of different size of Morse taper. That looks like maybe a number 2 Morse taper. That says 2764, so that looks like a number 1. Anyway, so just he said he was going to try to put me together a set. He didn't think he'd have a complete set of sizes in what he had. But he was going to go through and try to put together as complete of a set for me as he could, from small to large. So I'm not going to look at each and every one of them right now. There's some more number 1 Morse tapers. All right, so wow, that is awesome. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, 36, 37 different sizes. Look like they're mostly number 1 and number 2 Morse tapers. And they look like they're actually, most of them are in pretty good shape. A few of these may need some sharpening, but most of these I think would drill just like they are right now. So that is awesome. I'm well on my way of having a set of Morse taper drill bits now. Like I said, I still need to kind of find some of those bigger sizes, which is really what I'm after. But this is great. The lathe out at the museum has a number 4 Morse taper, but I've actually got the reducers to go from a number 1 all the way to a number 4. So I can use these in that lathe out there. I can also use these. My wood lathe takes number 2 Morse tapers on the tailstock, and I got a pattern maker's wood lathe, which is kind of like a wood lathe but built like a metal lathe for doing more precision woodworking. I've got one of those as well, and I think it takes number 2s. Anyway, these are awesome. They will come in handy. So anyway, that's some of my toys that I've picked up since in the last week or two. Between Toolstock, flea markets, and doing some horse trading, I've had a couple of good weeks here. And I actually know for a fact I've got some more stuff coming that I did some trading with up at Toolstock that hasn't gotten here yet. I actually had some mill vices. About a year ago, I guess it was, I was looking for a couple of mill vices to use on my new horizontal mill, was new to me at the time. I was looking for a big mill vise, and anyway, I found a machine shop that was going out of business. He says, "Yeah, we got a bunch of them. Come on down here. We'll make you a deal." Well, when I got there, I ended up buying a pallet of mill vices when I really only went after 1 or 2. Got a really good deal on them, and some of them are pretty toasty, whereas some of them were really nice. I kept a few of those, and the rest of them I've either been selling off or trading, which is again what I like to do, trading. So I won't spoil now some of the other goodies that I've got coming, where I traded some of those mill vices for some things, but we'll be sharing that stuff with you over the next few weeks. One of them I got to go pick it up. That's actually coming from my buddy Mike over in Statesboro, Georgia. So next time I'm over there, I'm gonna stop by his shop and pick up some really cool things that we swapped out. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's going to be it for this little shop talk video that I put together. Again, just sharing some of the stuff that's going on. I did get to spend, this will probably be the first video I put up, but I also shot some video today out at the museum working on a couple of different projects. So I'll have 2 videos. Both of them will be a little bit shorter videos, but anyway, I'll put those up as I have time to edit them over the next couple of weeks. And I'll also note, I've already shared with you guys that I've been doing a good bit of traveling. I've been away from home a lot. I haven't had a lot of shop time in the past few weeks. And really, the whole coming month of March, I'm going to be, again, I'm just going to be gone a lot. I've got a lot of traveling. This is my busy season. Once I get past March, things start settling down and I'm back home again. But really the next 3 weeks in a row, I'm going to be spending more nights in the hotel than I will be at home, which I'm not crazy about, but that's part of my job that I have during this time of this year. It just comes with a lot of traveling. So anyway, I've got to make some trips. The first 2 weeks, I'll pretty much be here in the southeast, and then 3 weeks from now, I guess it is, or not this Saturday, but this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday, I'll actually have to fly to Germany, and we'll be over there for a whole week in Germany doing some training with my job. So I'm kind of looking forward to the Germany trip. I've never had the opportunity to go to Europe before. The company I work for is based out of Germany, so it's the first time I've really had a chance to go over there. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to that 9 to 10 hour flight going over and back. I don't do good sitting down for long periods of time. I like to get up and move around. So anyway, that's going to be a challenge, but I'm sure I'll make it, and I'll get to enjoy a nice week in Germany. But with that said, probably over the next week or two, or next probably 3 weeks, not going to have a lot of shop time again. So we'll try to get some videos up as we can. Like I said, I shot a few this today, and I'll probably spread those out over the next week or two, which will also give me some time to do the editing, and I won't be in a rush to do that. So again, I want to thank everybody out there who watches all this stuff. I want to thank all my subscribers who are out there for doing so. Got over 5,000 subscribers now to my channel, which, like I've said before, just absolutely blows my mind that there's that many people out here that are interested in this stuff. But thank you each and every one of you who subscribes to my channel. Thank you for your comments. Again, I read all of them. I don't get a chance to respond to every single one of them, but I try to, at least when there are questions, to respond. And with my travel schedule here lately, it's been tough even keeping up with all the comments. But I think I got caught up with most of them over the weekend here, and I think I've still got a few more to get through. But like I said, I read each and every one of those, I promise, and I enjoy hearing what you have to say, at least most of the time. There are a few guys out there that don't say nice things, but I just tend to ignore you guys. Anyway, again, thank you for watching, and we'll get some more videos up just as quick as we can.